everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast, and boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Sibylline Oracles, Book 1, lines 199 through 400.
Yeah.
We nailed that.
Yeah, we did.
We did it.
You know what? We weren't here last week.
We were not. No,
You were supposed to be at a tournament.
I was supposed to be at a tournament. So in order to compete in the tournament, this on their landing page, right? Mm-hmm. It says that you need to be fully vaccinated and boosted. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. That's not a big deal. So I got boosted, and then the day of the tournament, or the day that you're supposed to check in, which is the day before, I guess. They were like, oh, you had to get your booster shot 14 days beforehand.
Oh.
And I was like, was that on the site? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I didn't see that on the site. But it turns out there was a link to a PDF you can download about more exact rules. And it said 14 days beforehand. And I was like, are you fucking shitting me?
And you would have been a Pokemon master.
That would have been fan-fucking-tastic. But no. Instead, I was really bummed out about that. I tried to appeal. I was like, I couldn't get it beforehand because I had to see my cardiologist first, and the earliest I could see him was the earliest I could see my cardiologist was 2 weeks before the tournament anyways. Mm-hmm. So there was no way. So I was bummed out, but I did get to meet a whole lot of people that I've been wanting to meet for a long time. Been friends with them online for the past year and a half.
Other Pogo players?
Yes, other Pogo players. So I got to meet with them and hang out with them. And that was a lot of fun. That was definitely the highlight of my weekend. Yeah, that's it. We had a lot of good food, a lot of good drinks. So
wonderful.
It was nice. Still bummed out about the tournament. So what I have decided to do is I'm going to get very, very good at this specific format and come back next year with a vengeance, like Bruce Willis in Die Hard with a Vengeance, except it'll actually be good.
Okay. Well, you know what you could do? You could
talk about this?
You could find the person who won the tournament, and you can challenge them to a Pokemon battle.
The funny thing is, after the tournament, we went to his place for to the winner's place for a party. Even if he lost the tournament, he would have still had this party. He had it planned out days in advance. Mm-hmm. So I have met him before last week. He is local here to Milwaukee. So at least the person who lives here won the Milwaukee Regional. But I should have considered that. I should have just challenged him to a battle right there. I challenge you for your spot at the World Tournament.
You would have won.
I mean, he's really good, but
you're better.
I don't know about that. But at least it would have been amusing to see what would have happened.
Yeah. Well, anyways, today we're reading the Sibylline Oracles.
Yes, we are.
And we're reading out of
the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, Apocalyptic Literature and Testaments, edited by James H. Charlesworth. And this section is written, I believe, by J.J. Collins, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was J.J. Collins. I don't know why I would forget if it was J.J. Collins, because he's a great author. If you haven't read any of his work, J.J. Collins. If you haven't read any of his work on apocalyptic literature, you really should, because he's the premier scholar in that field. Him and his wife, Adela Yarbo Collins, just really, really good work coming from them.
Second only to J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, right, of course.
Spider-Man!
But he just wants pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So we are finishing up Book 1 today. Book 1's kind of short, and in the first section of Book 1, if I remember correctly, we were talking about the ages of mankind, essentially. Mm-hmm. And they do kind of, talk a little bit about the Watchers.
A little bit.
And then but now we're finally getting to the actual arc. Yeah. So we talked. Did we talk about it before? I know that we were like about to introduce the ark. Oh no, sorry. Noah was talking beforehand.
Right.
But now we're finally getting into the ark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from here on out, I mean, all this stuff is of course going to be familiar. And then we're just going to take looks like a pretty big jump into some Christian stuff.
Yep. And we're finishing the first book today, right?
We are, yes.
Okay.
I'll hand this off to you.
You better.
And it starts over here.
So, we're entering into the section, Noah enters the ark. But when he had spoken these things in vain to a lawless generation, the Most High appeared. He again cried out and spoke, Now the time is at hand, Noah, to say all in turn, to do the immense world everything which on that day I promised and indicated to you, as much as the myriad evils generations did previously on account of a faithless people.
So whatever they gave, he's going to give back in kind, except it's not going to be good.
It's going to be
a flood.
Yeah.
Like you were just that bad.
Not an eye for an eye, but drowning for an eye. But quickly go on board with your sons and wife and daughters-in-law. That's very specific. Call as many as I bid you to address, species of four-footed animals and serpents and birds. I will subsequently put in the breasts of as many as I apportion life to go willingly. So God's like, yeah, I'll make them go along with you. They won't fight you.
Okay, yeah, because I assume it would be difficult to get all of life, or at least all kinds of life on the planet to go with you on this boat.
I mean, four-footed animals, serpents, and birds. What about the bugs?
A lot of stuff is left out there.
Yeah, where are the termites?
They're staying on the highest trees.
Yeah.
Even though it says that the floodwaters went over the highest mountains, right?
You guys know that termites and ants can bundle up into a ball when there's too much water, and they can stay afloat for a real long time.
Sure.
You guys did
40 days and 40 nights.
Whatever.
I don't know
what the life cycles of those things.
They might starve to death.
They eat each other until they run out of mass.
Wow, great. Yeah, that's a good way to preserve life.
They then use the corpses as buoyant rafts.
I mean, I've
wonderful
no idea about their lifespans.
You can look into it. Ants are cool. So are termites.
Okay, what about other bugs?
They're dead.
Those gummy
Everything's related to
emojis?
ants and termites. They better be.
Where are the butterflies gonna go? They're just gonna fly the whole time.
Essentially,
I don't think that.
Do you remember when we were reading the alphabet?
Bees.
Dead.
Yeah, we need those. We need those
Yeah.
bees.
Maybe.
The alphabet of Ben Sira.
Yeah. Do you remember when we were covering it? What happened with the raven? Do you remember that story?
Oh, there was a raven.
Yeah, because you know how Noah sends out multiple birds.
Yes.
So there are. He was going to send out this raven, right? But the raven is like, you just want to send me out because you want to sleep with my wife.
Yeah. The raven's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go out while you fuck my raven wife.
Yeah. That I don't know why, but I felt the need to mention that story.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you can see, maybe he was just forced into going onto the.
When did they add gummy worm emojis?
Yeah, I don't know. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I like those.
I've never seen those before.
Those are fantastic. Now I kind of want some gummy worms.
You can't have any.
Wow, rude.
Yep.
I have gummy vitamins that have similar taste, but you can only have 2.
I don't think I want the gummy vitamins.
No. They're not sour either. You need the sour, sugary crap on
that
the
stuff
outside.
is really good.
Yep. Thus he spoke. But the man went, cried out loudly, and spoke, and then his spouse and sons and daughters-in-law entered the wooden house. But then the other creatures went in turn, as many as God wished to save.
Seems a little arbitrary there because they didn't really do anything.
Yeah. But when the joining bolt was about the shutter, fitted to a side in the polished wall, then indeed the plan of the heavenly God was accomplished. So,
when it was all finished.
yep. Now we're entering into a section on the flood.
Great. Finally, let's learn about the flood.
Yes.
Never heard of it.
No, never. Not once.
What's a flood?
I don't know, like a volcanic eruption or something.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
great.
because of the volcano god, Yahweh?
Yes, because of the volcano god Yahweh.
It was him.
Yep. The flood. He threw clouds together and hid the brightly gleaming disk. Having covered the moon together with the stars and the crown of heaven all around, he thundered loudly, a terror to mortals, sending out hurricanes. All the storm winds were gathered together, and all the springs of waters were released as the great cataracts were opened from heaven, and from the recesses of the earth and the endless abyss, measureless water appeared, and the entire immense earth was covered.
Yeah, that seems pretty in line with the Genesis account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it comes from above and below.
Yeah.
Yep. The wondrous house itself, the ark, swam on the flood, battered by many raging waves and swimming under the impact of the winds. It surged terribly. The keel cut immense foam as the rushing waters were moved. But when God had deluged the entire world with rains, then Noah considered that he might look on the counsel of the immortal and see the Hades of Nereus. Nereus was an old sea god.
Okay.
He quickly opened the shutter from the polished wall, fixed as it was skillfully with fastenings opposite each other, beholding the great mass of limitless waters. Noah was struck with terror to see with his eyes only death on all sides, and he quivered greatly at heart.
Finally, we get a little bit of insight into how Noah's feeling about this whole thing, because I don't think we had that in Genesis.
No. And on only death on all sides. The text is corrupt. The author, Collins, reads moron monon ophthalmoisin with Alexander. So,
Okay, if that was, I assume it's transliterated, right?
yes.
Okay. I'm going to have to look at that later because that was not quite sure what you were going for.
Yeah, you said moron. I heard that part.
Yeah. moron.
Moron.
monon.
Okay.
ophthalmoisin.
Yeah, so when it comes to transliterations, they're not the best a lot of the time, especially since while I don't know when this convention started or why they started doing this, but the U in Greek in upsilon is often transliterated into a Y in English. And that's always really annoying. But there are, so it would be like moron monos, or was it
monon.
monon?
Yeah, monon ophthalmoisin.
Okay, interesting. All right then.
Yep. So he's like freaked out about death on all sides.
Okay.
And then the air drew back a little, since it had labored many days, drenching the whole world, and showed then the great vault of heaven at evening, as it were bloodied, greenish yellow, and the brightly gleaming disk hard pressed. What do they mean? So, the vault of heaven.
Mm-hmm. That would be the firmament.
Right. It's bloodied greenish yellow.
Is it supposed to describe
Like a sun?
it's like closer to a sunset, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
It's really weird. It's greenish yellow.
Yeah.
And I think Angelique, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. So I am not a biblical scholar, but I am currently working towards that. I am getting a degree in religious studies, and I learned ancient Greek, and I've been studying the Bible for like seriously, like academically, for maybe 7 years now.
Yeah,
I
I was gonna say 7.
Yeah. So I'm currently working towards that.
Screw that. We're both biblical scholars. We've been doing this show and our Sunday show for years.
We have been doing it for years. That
we
is true.
Literally covered scholarship
I'm a
frequently.
pseudo scholar by proxy, just by being here and having to pay attention to change cameras. Yeah, just by that.
Yeah. You know, did you get those like 30 different papers that I sent you on the
I did get
Oracles
those.
and Acts?
I did get those, yeah.
Yeah. So we will be,
and I'm getting the books for Acts and the letters as well.
Yep. And so hopefully you'll print something off from those. I know that there's some stuff on the second Oracle, or the second book.
Right.
And we will go over some of that, which is to say that we're doing biblical scholarship. And a painter is someone who paints.
Oh my gosh.
A musician is someone who makes music.
A
A biblical scholar is someone who engages in scholarship related to the Bible.
Right, but
therefore, because we engage in scholarship related to the Bible, we are biblical scholars. Damn the academy.
Damn the academy. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
What an argument that nobody will accept.
I don't know why. Like, some group of people just got together and decided we're the biblical scholars.
Oh, I know. It is it's kind of arbitrary.
Yeah, we're going to arbitrarily say that only if you go through our system, you will be considered a biblical scholar. But you just do the same thing that they're doing, and oh, wow.
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone's doing them in different ways because you have like different types of criticism.
Yeah. But we do it in our way.
We do, yeah.
Anyways.
Thanks.
So Noah barely maintained his courage. And then, taking one dove aside, verses 233 through 257 diverge from the biblical narrative and are more closely related to Babylonian traditions. In Genesis, Noah sends first a raven, then a dove 3 times.
Yeah.
Here he sends 2 doves and then a black-winged bird or raven. The latter is the sequence in the Babylonian account. In both Babylonian and Sibylline accounts, the second bird touches the ground. This is also found in Josephus' Antiquities of the Jews 135.
Oh, so this you're just telling me this kind of account is found in Antiquities?
Yeah, this detail is found in Antiquities of the Jews 135. And
I can pull that up because we have that right here.
Okay.
And I was actually kind of lucky because I flipped to Antiquities of the Jews.
All right. It's also found in Berosus F415. In the Gilgamesh epic, the second bird finds no resting place. In Genesis 8:11, the second bird brings back an olive twig. This detail is also picked up in the Sibylline oracles in verse 251. So.
Okay, so I was definitely in the wrong spot.
135.
135. Okay, I will find it.
Yeah, I'll wait for you.
Okay, fine. Jesus. Okay, so this is actually at the very beginning because Antiquities of the Jews was a lot longer than I thought it was. So 1-3. Here we go. 1, 3, 5. Yeah, when God gave the signal and it began to rain, the water poured down 40 entire days till it became 15 cubits higher than the earth, which was the reason why there was no greater number preserved, since they had no place to fly. When the rain ceased, the water... I'm just going to try to find the bird thing, right? Where he sends out the stuff. Yeah, here we go. Okay. He continued quiet. Yeah, he continued quiet and conceived some cheerful hopes of deliverance. But a few days afterwards, when the water was decreased to a greater degree, he sent out a raven as desirous to learn whether any other part of the earth were left dry by the water, and whether he might go out on the ark with safety. But the raven, finding all the land still overflowed, returned to Noah again. And after 7 days, he sent out a dove to know the state of the ground, which came back to him covered with mud and bringing an olive branch. How nice. Hereby Noah learned that the earth was become clear of the flood. So after he had stayed 7 more days, he sent the living creatures out of the ark, and both he and his family went out, and he also sacrificed to God. So on and so forth.
Okay. So yeah, that is found there. Interestingly enough, the story from the Alphabet of Ben Sira about that raven does not appear. Anyways, he took one dove aside. He cast it out so that he might know in his heart whether firm land had yet appeared. But she, laboring with her wings, having flown all over, returned again, for the water was not receding, but rather it had filled everything. But he waited again some days, and sent a dove once more, so that he might know if the great waters had ceased. But she, flying, winged her way, and went on the land, having rested herself a little on the damp land. She returned to Noah again, bringing an olive twig and a great sign of her message. Courage and great joy seized them all because they were hoping to see land. And then afterward he sent out quickly another black-winged bird. But this one, trusting in his wings, flew prudently. And when he came to the land, he stayed there. And Noah knew that land was near, closer by. But when the heavenly craft had swum to and fro on the dashing waves by the billows of the sea, it was fastened on a small beach and made fast. So here, the ark lands on a small beach.
I love small beaches.
Yeah.
Not really. I kind of hate the beach, honestly. But anyways, so this next section is...
And how could the kangaroos get back to Australia? Well, they hopped, obviously.
Well, I think hopping is a good answer. Uber is also a good answer. Perhaps Lyft. I think Lyft was around back then.
I think they were aquatic back then.
Yeah, they were aquatic.
See, they didn't
a different kind of.
Well, they didn't have those apps
kangaroos.
back then. You had to call the taxi company.
That's right, the taxi company. Yes,
Yep.
You gotta call the taxi service. Which at that time would have been, I assume, run by, I don't know, birds. All right. Let's continue on here. This is, the ark lands in Phrygia. That's this next section.
Yeah, and the story does take place in the floodplain, right?
Well, okay, so... The way that it probably really happened in real life was
A localized
it
flood.
was probably a localized flood, probably a big flood, but probably a localized one. I think one hypothesis that I read was about that it's the Black Sea.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm thinking of the right sea. Is it the Black Sea? The one that's like it's mostly like enclosed by land, but. I think, is it the Black Sea or is it a different sea? I don't remember.
I don't know,
I think it's the Black Sea. But I think like that would have been like one of the hypotheses is that was, like the area that was being talked about like before it was flooded. I'm not, don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% certain. But yeah, essentially it was a localized flood, which, localized floods happen all the time. So there likely was, flooding all around the globe, but not all at once and everyone died.
There has been flooding all over the globe.
That is what I mean, yeah.
But, it could be the case that the story takes place beyond the Pillars of Heracles, and that the Atlanteans are the ones that Noah descends from, and what was it? The priestesses of Nuit were
I don't
the
remember.
ones to record it's in Timaeus, right? So
Oh no, I don't think I ever actually read Timaeus.
oh shoot.
No,
I
no.
talked to you for a bit about the Atlantean legend in Plato.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which is another flood story.
I mean, yeah, lots of flood stories everywhere. Because oh my god, floods happening! Holy shit!
Yep.
Yeah.
On a planet that's mostly covered by water. Who would have guessed?
Fucking ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, there was probably a big flood, but it's definitely was not global.
Yeah.
Where everybody died, because we would have evidence for that.
Mm-hmm.
Or all be dead.
Or that. All right, so there is a certain tall, lofty mountain on the dark mainland of Phrygia. It is called Ararat, where all were about to be saved. When all were about to be saved on it, thereupon there was a great heartfelt longing. There, the springs of the great river Marsyos had sprung up.
What is the great river Marsyos?
I have no idea.
How do you spell it?
It's Marsyos. But yeah, I got nothing on Marsyos there. But here we go. So the usual location of Ararat in Armenia is given by Josephus. Africanus reported by Syncellus, located in in Parthia, but recorded that some thought it was in Phrygia. So the location of Mount Ararat itself seems to be a source of confusion. The springs of the great river Marsyos.
So Marsyos or Marsyas is the name of several rivers in antiquity. One is the modern Seine River, rising near Stratonicea, Caria, joining the meander near Aden, Turkey. The second is also the cataracts in Phrygia, associated with Greek mythology, with the satyr Marsyas, Marsyas, joining the meander near Dinar, Turkey. And the last is in Syria, joining the Orontes near Apamea. Now, the character Marsyas is a central figure in two stories involving music. In one, he picked up the double oboe, the aulos, that had been abandoned by Athena and played it. In the other, he challenged Apollo to a contest of music and lost his hide and his life.
Why would you challenge Apollo to a music off?
Yeah.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Pick a better thing.
In antiquity, literary sources often emphasize the hubris of Marsyas and the justice of his punishment. So here we've given you a little bit of Greek stuff there.
All right. I did not know about that myth, I guess.
Well, there you go.
Never even heard of that. But anyways, this river is named after that Marsyas, I would suppose. In this place, the ark remained on lofty summits when the waters had subsided. Then again, from heaven, the wondrous voice of the great God cried out as follows: Noah, trustworthy, righteous man who has been preserved, go forth boldly with your sons and wife and 3 daughters-in-law, and fill the whole earth, increasing and multiplying, dealing justly with each other, to generations of generations, until the whole race of men comes to trial, when there will be judgment for all. We literally just had a huge judgment, but it wasn't quite judgment for all, right?
Right.
Well,
in the story, it's judgment for Most.
It's judgment for most, right? Yeah. So even in the lead up to the story, it was built as a day of judgment, but not the day of judgment.
Well, in a way, Noah and his family were already judged.
I guess
They just weren't sentenced to death.
right, but this isn't the final judgment,
Right.
Like where you have
Yeah.
This isn't like where you get any kind of resurrection.
Well, because that destruction happens with fire.
right.
And this is with water.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. So now he's gearing up for a final day of judgment. Let's hope. Thus, the heavenly voice spoke, but Noah took courage and jumped to the land from the ark, and his sons with him, and his wife, and his daughters-in-law, and serpents and birds, the species of four-footed animals, and all other creatures together went out of the wooden house into one place. So now we're learning about other creatures, which we did not talk about, did we? It mentioned those three, but did it say other creatures as well?
No,
I know that the birds were on there, but you wouldn't call those. Oh yeah, sorry, they're part of the birds. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, serpents and birds. Obviously.
here's a serious question. Okay, God doesn't like certain animals. Pigs, for example.
Well, I would think
The
that he would like pigs
unclean
more.
animals. They're considered unclean, not fit for ritual sacrifice.
Oh, I guess yeah. Okay. So
why would he be commanded to save those animals? God literally doesn't want them around.
that's a good question. Yeah. Why would he do that?
Nonsense.
And I guess what was the cause of their uncleanliness? I don't think we ever got that.
No.
We just learned that they're unclean.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, everything and everyone is leaving the ark now. And then Noah, most righteous of men, came out eighth, having fulfilled 41 dawns on the water through the counsels of the great God. So yeah, they don't really spend too much time about what happened on the ark. They were just like, there was this ark, there was this flood, and then they left.
Yep. Well,
Essentially.
to be fair, there's not much to say. They're just floating there for 40 days.
They were, yeah, for a while.
It's not
They
exactly
had to wait for everything to die.
that Noah movie made it a lot more exciting than the actual story or the Sibylline oracles or any time that they tell this story, because they do it in every fucking apocalypse.
Yeah, they do it in every apocalypse, and they do it
It's a
in every movie too.
classic
Yep.
or staple of the genre almost.
It is, yeah, because like if you see like a global flood, that's when you think of the Bible and the big stuff, the big moments that happen in the Bible. Like obviously you got creation, and then what's the next big moment?
Flood.
The flood.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could then talk about Sodom and Gomorrah if you want,
Binding of Isaac.
But I would still argue that the flood is
Abraham
bigger than
being a deadbeat dad to Ishmael.
those. Also yes. Those are like the big moments, so it is expected.
Yeah.
All right. So okay. So before this entire flood thing, that was what, the fifth generation, right? That was the one that had to basically be destroyed.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, because it said, if we go back to his description of the generations, again, he made afterward another far inferior race of men, for whom thereafter immortal God fashioned no good, since they suffered many evils. For they were insolent, much more than those giants, crooked ones, abominably pouring forth slander. That's where that section ends. I don't know why I had that inflection. That made it seem like I was going to talk more, because I thought I was. So, yeah, though this fifth generation is what basically triggers God to flood the earth.
Well, they just keep getting worse.
They do. But now, just to bring it back, just so we're clear on where we are, now, after the ark has landed and everyone is leaving, now we get a sixth generation.
Yep.
Then again, a new generation of life dawned. The first golden, excellent one, which is the sixth since the time of the first formed man. Its name is Heavenly, for God will take care of everything. Oh, the first race of the sixth generation. Oh, great joy in which I later shared when I escaped dire destruction, having been much buffeted by waves, suffering terrible things with my husband and my brother and brothers-in-law. So it seems like that's like the Oracle's own note.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah. So I guess the Oracle is calling herself part of that generation, because that is what it looks like, and it says that it references book 3 as well. And the prologue.
Let me see here.
All right, there you go. It's over there, the long line at the end. Yeah. So I think that was the implication there.
First race of the sixth generation, oh great joy, in which I later shared. There is
because this would have happened a while ago, and in the course of that generation, whatever the Oracle is living, it would be later.
There's a footnote here. In Constantine's speech to the saints, the Erythrian Sibyl is said to have lived in the sixth generation after the flood, and to have been a priestess of Apollo. The relationship to Noah is also noted in the Scholion to the Phaedrus 244b.
Yeah, and as you can see, there's a reference here at the end to book 3.
Yeah.
So that is what it seems like.
There are multiple ways to interpret this here. So she says, oh, the first race of the sixth generation, oh, great joy, in which I later shared. So obviously she was not born prior to it, but afterwards she shared in the joy of the race of the sixth generation. When I escaped dire destruction, this could be saying that she was present at the time during the flood, though likely not.
Yeah, I wouldn't see that.
Having been
wait, that's right. Wasn't there the idea that the Sibyl was one of Noah's daughters? Didn't we talk about that last week? Or not last week, but 2 weeks ago?
This line, having been much buffeted by waves, suffering terrible things with my husband and brothers-in-law and father-in-law and mother-in-law and fellow brides.
Right.
So this is saying that she was one of Noah's
daughters-in-law.
Yeah. In-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would make sense then. Okay. I guess that's where people get that from. Probably not accurate.
Unless... no, I don't think so.
Either way,
the only way that I could interpret that otherwise is that she's personifying the ark. Which
I don't think Sibyls were known to do that kind of thing, or even oracles in general. I don't think they were ever known to do that kind of thing.
That's like either it's Noah's daughter-in-law, one of them, or she's personifying the ark, and the former sounds more likely.
Yeah, but then it would be weird though. I guess the phrasing would just be weird because she's not actually part of the sixth generation, but she does participate in the joy of the sixth generation.
Right.
Because she's technically the fifth generation.
Yeah. But her children
are the sixth. Yeah.
Sixth.
So, anyways, with my husband and brothers-in-law and father-in-law and mother-in-law and fellow brides, I will tell exactly. There will be a multicolored flower on a fig tree. Time will be at its midpoint. There will be a royal scepter-bearing rule. For 3 great spirited kings, most righteous men, will destroy the fates and will rule for a period of many years. administering justice to men. That's interesting.
We've just expanded far beyond the Jewish canon.
That was quite the jump. So the three sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, I guess that would be a reference to the three great spirited kings.
Could be.
So in Sibylline Oracles, book 3, the three are identified as Chronos. This is cut off here. Is it supposed to say Titan? What is it? I'm not sure because it's literally like a misprint. It looks like there's a letter or two cut off.
Yeah, that's Titan.
Yeah. And I think it's Iapetus. Because I mean, if it's from the Greek, it would be Iapetus, but I don't know how English people like to say it. Presumably, the similarity of the names Japheth and Iapetus facilitated the equation. Okay.
Well, they would probably say it like Iapetus.
Well, I would have to see it in the Greek
people.
to know 100%. Oh, the English. Sorry. Murricans. I meant to say Murricans. I'm sorry. I don't know how Murricans pronounce it. But I guess it would be easier to see the Greek. All right, continuing on here.
It's always easier to see.
It is always easier.
Now, why they couldn't just have an alliteration system that actually makes sense, it's beyond me. You know, in Japanese, ka is ka. You know?
Wow.
N is N. Wa is WA. Everything is just phonetic. It's perfectly fine.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That would be nice to have here. All right. So, anyways, yeah. So these three great spirited kings. Actually, there's a lot to talk about. So, multicolored flower on a fig tree. Time will be at its midpoint. So the universe is like half done. There will be a royal scepter bearing rule, and I guess that would be the three sons there, right? And they will apparently destroy the fates. So
this doesn't sound like something that already has happened.
Right, yeah.
Which, if it were referring to Noah's sons, that would have already happened.
So like a big fuck you to the Greeks too. And will rule for a period of many years, administering justice to men. They will be concerned with labor and fair deeds. The earth will rejoice, sprouting many spontaneous fruits, overladen with offspring. Those who give nourishment will be ageless always. Free from hard-raging diseases, they will die, smitten by sleep, and will go away to Acheron in the halls of Hades. And there they will have honor, since they were a race of blessed ones, happy men to whom Sabaoth, of course God, gave a noble mind. To these also he always confided his counsels, but they will be blessed, even entering Hades. So that's the sixth generation there. It looks like basically they're just going to rule until they die. That's essentially what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, so now the seventh generation.
And hand it off to me after this section.
Will do. Then, thereafter, another grievous, mighty second race of earthborn men will rise. The Titans.
Oh.
Yeah. The Titans.
Because David has to fight a giant Goliath.
He does.
Descendants.
He does have to do that. That's a good point.
Descendant of the Nephilim.
Yeah.
So, like, they have to pop up at some point, and presumably it wouldn't be.
Oh, we also have to remember the revolt of the Titans against Zeus, because I totally forgot about that. So yeah, I guess that's kind of neat. All right.
Yeah. So here, like, obviously the Golden Age, like, the sixth generation takes place after the Watchers breed with human women. But the human women who are there in the sixth generation are just the wives of Noah's sons. And they would not have like Nephilim offspring. They would have their husband's offspring, which would be humans. So these are pure humans, right?
Yeah.
So it would have to be at least one generation later that the reintroduction of like Watcher DNA, I guess, would be introduced to the species, allowing for descendants of the giants to be present later on in the story, right?
I suppose, but you got to remember that the giants, at least biblically speaking, it said they were all killed.
Yeah, they were all killed. So, I don't know, maybe like Asrael comes by and knocks up some human. Like, look, maybe they'll explain it.
Maybe they will. Let's find out.
No.
Each individual will have a similar form, appearance, and size. There will be one nature and one language, as God previously put in their breasts from the first generation. So this generation of Titans, very primordial.
And they're all the same.
Yeah, basically. But they also will have a proud heart, and finally rushing toward destruction will plot to fight in opposition against the starry heaven. So yeah, there's that revolt against heaven. And then the rushing of the mighty ocean of raging waters will be among them. But the great Sabaoth in anger will shut them out, preventing them, because he promised not to make a flood again against the evil-spirited men. But when he will make the immense billow of many waters of a wave surging this way and that, to cease from anger, the great, loud, thundering God will reduce the depths of the sea to other measures, having defined it around the land with harbors and rough shores. Okay. Is that the end of the seventh generation?
I guess.
That was a horrible end of the seventh generation.
Yeah. It's not much.
Yeah, no, that was it. That was all we fucking got about the seventh generation.
Yep.
There are going to be giants that are going to rebel. Sorry, Titans that are going to rebel.
And then they're going to get their asses handed to them.
Yeah. That's it. And then this next section looks like a Christian passage on the incarnation and life of Christ.
Okay.
So this looks, I'm guessing it's a later thing.
Comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. It does. There should be a note on it, I think.
Let's see. Now, there were notes here about the Titans. In Greek mythology, they were children of heaven and earth.
Yeah, I did. I did mention that one.
Yeah. Kronos was the youngest and was their leader.
Yeah. But for this next section that we're getting into, there is a note, I believe.
Yeah. In Hesiod, the Titans were defeated by the thunderbolt of Zeus and imprisoned at the ends of the earth. In the more elaborate account of the revolt against Zeus by Nonos of Panopolis in Egypt, 5th century AD, the revolt includes an attack by Typhon on the stars.
Typhon was that monster that Hera made, right?
Yeah.
I think that was Typhon.
The revolt against the stars in the biblical tradition may be related to the fragmentary Ugaritic myth of Athtar's attempt to occupy the throne of Baal.
That sounds like a fun read.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And, they do mention raging waters and everything when they talk about Sabaoth.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So,
but that was just another name for Yahweh.
Yep. So we're talking about Jesus now.
Great. Just let's skip ahead.
Yeah. Then indeed the Son of the great God will come, incarnate, likened to mortal men on earth, bearing 4 vowels, and the consonants in him are 2. I will state explicitly the entire number for you. for 8 units, an equal number of 10s in addition to these, and 8 hundreds will reveal the name to men who are sated with faithlessness.
More gematria stuff then?
Yeah, well, Jesus has a numerical equivalent.
Sure,
to
yeah.
888, so that is what they're talking about here.
Yeah, so it would be pronounced Jesus in Greek.
Mhm.
Although I wasn't, because that's how many consonants and vowels did they say?
It says that there are 4 vowels and 2 consonants.
So there are 2 consonants. I don't know where they're getting that other vowel.
I-E, O-U.
There was no.
Well, it's written I-E-S-O-U-S here.
Oh, do they have a? Okay. Oh, right. Oh, is it? It is OUS, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! I forgot how to spell it. Okay.
Wow.
I must have forgotten how to spell it.
Wow, you pulled a Chris.
I did. I pulled a Chris. Sorry.
It's cool. I don't know how to spell it either way. I know you just spelled it, but nah.
Well, it's spelled E-I-T-H-E-R space W-A-Y.
Either way?
Yeah. You said you don't know how to spell either way. So there you go.
I lied, I guess. I know how to spell
Wow.
that. Sorry. Well, you took me too literally.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, it was OU. Okay, that's right. Or yeah.
Yep. But you, consider in your heart Christ, the Son of the Most High, immortal God. He will fulfill the law of God. He will not destroy it. Yeah, that's what Jesus said.
Yeah, he did. He did say that. Yeah. And I did talk about that on last time I was on Aaron's channel. Mm-hmm. I did talk about the whole, like, what it means to fulfill something. It really just means uphold it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bearing a likeness which corresponds to types, and he will teach everything. Priests will bring gifts to him.
Remember what happened when the Watchers tried to teach everything?
Yeah, that was a big mess.
That was a big mess.
So priests will give gifts to him, bringing forward gold, myrrh, and incense. For he will do also all these things.
I don't think we ever actually established that those are priests, right?
Nope.
I distinctly remember us talking about how these guys were not, like, identified.
Right.
Who brought them gifts?
It was only later on.
Yeah.
They proposed an identity.
Yeah, exactly. But they were just some guys in the actual book.
Yeah. But when a certain voice will come through the desert land, bringing tidings to mortals, and will cry out to all to make the path straight and cast away evils from the heart, and that every human person be illuminated by waters, so that, being born from above, they may no longer in any respect at all transgress justice, but a man with barbarous mind enslaved to dances will cut out this voice and give it as a reward.
Wow, I'm so glad I'm not a slave to dances.
Ironically, your voice cut out then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps I'm a slave to the music, but certainly not to the dances.
You're a slave to the dances.
Oh my God.
Then there will suddenly be a sign to mortals when a beautiful stone which has been preserved will come from the land of Egypt. This is apparently referencing 1 Peter 2:4.
Okay, I'll pull up 1 Peter 2:4.
Yeah. Actually, the next line also references 1 Peter 2:4.
Oh, okay. So I should just check 1 Peter 2:4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. 1 Peter, where are you? I want to try not to miss it, right? Because
Lawrence is having trouble finding his Peter.
Yep, my Peter 2:4. So as you come to him, a living stone, rejected by men, but in the sight of God, chosen and precious. You yourselves, like living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house to be a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices to acceptable to God through Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this is where they reference the cornerstone thing. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Against this, the people of the Hebrews will stumble, but the Gentiles will be gathered under his leadership. For they will also recognize God who rules on high on account of this man's path in common light. For he will show eternal life to chosen men, but will bring the fire upon the lawless for all ages. Then indeed he will cure the sick and all who are blemished, as many as put faith in him. The blind will see, the lame will walk, the deaf will hear, those who cannot speak will speak. He will drive out demons, and there will be the resurrection of the dead. He will walk the waves, and in a desert place he will satisfy 5,000 from 5 loaves and a fish of the sea, and the leftovers of these will fill 12 baskets for the hope of the peoples.
You know, at least the author of this mentions the resurrection part, because a lot of people don't like to talk about that part, because most people are rational and they're like, that's kind of nuts. So they generally don't talk about it.
Yeah. One manuscript here does add, then, in addition to what has been said, the Erythraean adduces the account of the mad and unforgivable outrage of the killers of the Lord, and of the movement of all this which took place on this account, and the resurrection of the dead as follows.
Killers of the Lord. Wow.
Yep. And then
That sounds like is that a band name maybe?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then Israel, intoxicated, will not perceive, nor yet will she hear, afflicted with weak ears. But when the raging wrath of the Most High comes upon the Hebrews, it will also take faith away from them, because they did harm to the sons of the heavenly God. Then indeed Israel, with abominable lips and poisonous spittings, will give this man blows. For food they will give him gall, and for drink unmixed vinegar. Impiously, smitten in breast and heart with an evil craze, not seeing with their eyes, more blind than blind rats, more terrible than poisonous creeping beasts, shackled with heavy sleep.
Wow, that was a intense description.
Yeah. But when he will stretch out his hands and measure all, and bear the crown of thorns, and they will stab his side with reeds, on account of this for 3 hours there will be a monstrous dark midday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember that part.
And then indeed the temple of Solomon will effect a great sign for men, when he goes to the house of Adonis, announcing the resurrection of the dead. There's...
When they're talking about the Temple of Solomon,
Yeah.
Because that would have
been the first temple. Not
well,
the
no.
second.
Yeah, if you reference it as the Temple of Solomon, yeah, it would be the first. But the second one was the one that existed after the exile.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess you can use the same name, I guess, but is it really the same thing? Or is it like a ship of Theseus thing?
Yeah. Well,
so they
they
rebuilt it.
replaced all of the constituent elements and made it look different, and
But they still call it by the same name.
I guess.
Yeah. I guess that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But when he comes to light again in 3 days and shows a model to men and teaches all things, he will mount on clouds and journey to the house of heaven, leaving to the world the account of the gospel. Well, now they're just talking about the Monkey King.
What?
Yeah, he rides on clouds.
I mean, yeah, but there's a lot of mythical characters.
There are a lot of, even Yahweh is a cloud rider. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
And was it Baal? It might have been Baal. Or El. I forget which one. I think they were both, actually. I think first it was El and then it was Baal.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but they were also both cloud riders. So,
All right. Named after him, a new shoot will sprout from the nations of those who follow the law of the Great One. But also after these things there will be wise leaders, and then there will be thereafter a cessation of prophets. That's all we get about that.
okay then.
No.
Well, at least now we know what to expect when Jesus comes.
We have the final section of the Sibylline Oracles, Book 1. The prophecy of dispersion of the Jews. Then, when the Hebrews reap the bad harvest, a Roman king will ravage much gold and silver. This is an obvious reference to the defeat of the Jews in AD 70.
Okay.
Verse 393 refers to the same event. The other kingdoms of verse 389 are probably an oracular cliche. In any case, they do not precede the fall of the temple.
Right, because it would have been just the one kingdom.
Thereafter, there will be other kingdoms continuously, as kingdoms perish, and they will afflict mortals. But there will be a great fall for those men when they launch on unjust haughtiness. But when the temple of Solomon falls in the illustrious land cast down by men of barbarian speech with bronze breastplates, the Hebrews will be driven from their land, wandering, being slaughtered. They will mix much darnel in their wheat. There will be evil strife for all men, and the cities, violated in turn, will weep for each other on receiving the wrath of the great God in their bosom, since they committed an evil deed.
Yeah, and it's also important to remember there, specifically there, that the Greek barbaros means foreign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the end of Book 1 of the Sibylline Oracles.
Yeah. So it's not like, it's not like Book 1 is super long or anything.
No, it's just like a poetic retelling of some early parts of Genesis, and then there's some Jesus stuff at the end.
Yeah, some Jesus stuff just kind of attached to that. And it looks like this one's not super long either. It's about the same length, honestly. Maybe it's actually shorter. So yeah, probably also going to take 2 weeks on this one.
Yeah, but we also have more literature on the second book, so you'll print out some stuff.
I will definitely have some stuff ready for it.
Yeah. So, final thoughts on Book 1.
It would be great if it wasn't a retelling. I mean, I know there wasn't that much more interesting. I guess it was kind of neat to talk about the ages of man.
Yeah.
In I guess a Hebrew context.
Right. It's kind of like if we took the opening parts of Ovid and smashed it together with the opening parts of Genesis.
Yeah.
And this is what we get.
Was that in Ovid?
Yeah, in Metamorphoses, the beginning talks about the different generations.
Because I remember that being in Works and Days, in Hesiod's Works and Days.
Yeah, it's in Ovid too.
It's in Ovid too. Okay.
But I guess throw Hesiod in there too.
Yeah, I guess right because these I guess they're all pretty popular mythological framework.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a
show.
That's a show.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I'm glad to be back. Kind of bummed out that I couldn't, participate in the tournament specifically, but I did get to hang out with a lot of people that I've only known online. So
Well,
it was great to get to meet them. It was a fun weekend, though. It was a very fun weekend.
And we all know what you did with them.
Nothing.
With all of them.
Yeah, we played Pokemon. That's something we did.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
I'm pretty sure it's been called that since 1999.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, we have a Patreon.
Were you a patron? I don't, unless you go by a different name. Do you go by? If you go by a different name, then I'll check. But I don't know because I don't remember 420 Atheist as a patron name. I mean, it might be your actual name. You don't have to reveal your actual name here. But whenever we do have the wheel, whenever the shirt is won by somebody, we do send it out.
Yeah.
So
and we have sent it out every time.
Yeah.
So if you are on there.
Oh, wait. Okay, were you... Hold on. Are you still a patron? I'm not sure if you are still.
Yeah, we can check. Well, while you're talking about that, we have a Patreon. It's full of all sorts of stuff. You could be on the show. You could be invited to our patron hangout.
Yeah, and we also want to do something with the cards that Chris has made, but we're not entirely sure how to actually implement it, because we want to have people to have decks, obviously. So we can't just do every week we send you like a booster pack or something. That would be
ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
It's kind of fun.
It's still, like one a week or one a month or whatever. Like that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it'd be fun for what I said, every 6 months, which is ridiculous. But at the same time, maybe you get 4 packs or something like that every 6 months. I don't know. Or we could make like these
starter decks.
We could make starter decks.
We don't have the means to print off effective card stock.
That's okay.
Right.
You get a cheapo sleeve, an old Magic card, and whatever face I've defaced, pasted with our thing on it.
Right. So we're not technically selling the
or
card
we
game.
could just make a digital thing that's much easier.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, ditto. All right, well, we'll talk about it later.
Either way, yeah, I will check on that.
So is that person still a patron or not?
I don't think I can actually check who the patrons are on this this app. It's kind of stupid. Honestly,
what a useful app.
It's as an app, it's actually kind of terrible.
Yeah, one of the things that can happen, as was brought up, is you could be entered into a t-shirt giveaway, or if you just want to buy the shirts, you can check out our Teespring and maybe click on this pinned t-shirt.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good shirt right there.
Pretty good. You would, if you wore that out to parties, all the ladies would
ask questions.
Yeah,
I don't know how well
they
you
would
do.
ask questions. Yes.
Yeah. Or they might just avoid you, but they might also flock to you.
No one says they're asking questions to you. I'm just saying they're people and they're going to ask questions at some point.
Unless they're not inquisitive at all and never ask any questions.
You are describing a kind of person that Chris hates.
Yeah, I'd rather not talk to them.
Either way, but yeah, with the Patreon thing, I guess I can message you on there and let you know from a PC where I can check to see if you are still. Obviously don't feel obligated to give us money. So, but if you want, I can check in with you.
Nah, everyone should feel obligated to give us money. Give us all. We need a tithe, 10% of your income.
10%. Holy shit. We're worse than a church.
Yeah. Well, we're, the atheist Sunday school. So.
Right. We're a school.
Yeah. We charge tuition now.
We didn't before.
Yeah.
Things got bad.
Yeah, but anyways, beyond that, we also have an Amazon wish list full of books. You can check it out.
Yeah, link is in the description.
Yeah, if you send us books, we'll add them to the tip. We'll read them. We'll do all sorts of stuff with them.
Wow.
We could put them on the table. We could read them and use them as sources and videos. You get a lot of bang for your buck.
We could use them as weaponry. We could.
I wouldn't. Maybe one of yours, one of those psychology ones.
Them as weightlifting tools, but like we could.
That one's kind of accurate.
Yeah, we could take some Hermenia and just drill a hole through it and put a bar through the books so that we can do curls and stuff.
Or you could just get clamps.
Yeah,
good clamps.
No, he wants to drill holes.
Right.
Yeah,
don't need to drill.
Look, if you clamp it, then it's going to be unevenly weighted because you're not doing it perfectly in the center.
Right. But the
get
drilling
clamps
is
to
perfect.
go in the center.
In any case, buy us books. So we also have Facebook and Twitter. That's free.
Free to follow us on those platforms. That's all the shilling. It doesn't really matter.
You can email us.
Why not?
MilwaukeeAtheist@gmail.com.
Give us your Lawrence diss tracks.
Yeah. We
That's all the
haven't
shilling.
gotten a single. We've been asking for years. And you know what? Now that we're at the end of the show, 100-point show.
Oh, no.
All right. Here is my
I end the
100
show
points
so bad.
question.
Can I just end it?
No.
Yes.
No,
Can
you
I
can't.
just say see you
So
next
see
Sunday?
my 100 points
See you.
question
What-
is
No, there's no
how
questions.
many Sundays will it be before we finish the New Testament?
That's a good question.
69. There you go. You're welcome.
Do you mean how many more Sundays?
Yeah, how many more Sundays?
Oh my God.
Come with my answer.
You know what? I like 69. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
69.
69.
It's probably going to be, roughly 69.
Watch it be from.
Watch it
from
be
today.
69.
I can't award you the 100 points until we finish the New Testament.
Wow. Whoop-de-doo.
Okay. I have my 100-point show question.
Oh.
Okay.
My 100-point show question is, when will this specific show end its broadcast?
As you can see right now.
Goodbye. We'll see you on Sunday.